Hello guys, and you're welcome. So in this quick tutorial, we're going to look at the Python programming language, and we're going to build a simple, very basic software using the regular Python, and then we'll switch it up to create an object-oriented program using a simple class, and we're only going to have one function in this class. And this just began because I had a few games on Steam, and I noticed they were on sale, and I was just interested in this amount right here. So this is $19.99, but now it's at 70% discount. Now the amount is at $5.99. So I said to myself, hey, how can I do this basic arithmetic, right? Just basic math in the Python programming language. Now, before you can, if you'd like to follow along, you need to have a copy of Python installed. And to do that, just go to python.org and click download. So once it opens up, let me just go ahead and maximize this. So once Python opens up, click download and download Python for your operating system. I'm on Windows, I downloaded this. So just double click it and install Python, and immediately you install Python. If you go to your start, you can actually see idle 3.12. So IDLE is the Integrated Development and Learning Environment. That's what IDLE means. But before we do that, let's create a location to save our project. So I'll be using this IDLE. I have Visual Studio Code installed, but I'll be using IDLE. So the first thing I'll do is to go to my Documents folder, because I like putting things organized in there. And I'll just right click and create a new folder. And I'll call that calc discount. So it's called calculate discount, and I'm just going to exit out of this place and go back to my idle environment, and let's maximize this. So to use idle, you can just say let's say you can say 23 multiplied by 44, and this will give you a result. So if I want to find out the 25% of a number, I can just say 25 divided by 100, right? And I'll multiply that by the amount. So let's say it's 70. So if I divide 25 by 100, I'll get 70, then minus that initial amount, and it'll give us minus 52 literally. So that's one way you can use idle, but this is super boring, because once you close the interpreter and I close the shell, we actually lost everything we did. So to use idle with Python, what you need to do is to have a way to save your script. So I'm going to go to File and create a new file. And now I'm going to go to File, and I'll save that file in the folder I created. So it's and this say S, Control Save, or S. Yeah, that wasn't so hard, was it? So I'll go back to my documents. I'm having a difficulty, it's not cooperating with me. And I'll go to my calc discount folder. And here I'm going to create I'm going to give this the file name of, let's say, discount underscore calc.py. So now we actually have a Python file. We can start writing our code in. If you go to the options, you can show line numbers just to show the lines of these objects you have. So the first thing to do is to write a comment to describe what your program is doing. Your interpreter is going to ignore anything that comes after the pound symbol. So this is a single line comment, like so. And you can do a multiple line comment by using triple quotes, and in between those triple quotes you can write anything you want. So like I say, this is a program to calculate the discount on a price. Now if you have multiple lines, you can add more lines here. And if we save this and go to run and click run module, it's actually running right now, but since we're not telling it to print anything, you won't see anything. So we can print information by using the print keyword, and I'll just say hi. As a shortcut, you can press F5 and this should run the program, and you can see hi, like so. So I'll go ahead and either comment this out or to delete this. Now what I want to do is to create a simple program where I can just input or insert the price of an item, and it's going to calculate the discount. So I can just say, hey, the cost of the item is $20, and I want it to see what a 25% discount is going to be. That's the essence of the program I want to create, just like this items on sale on Steam, like that. For instance, Dead Cells is $24.99. It's now $14.99 at a 40% discount. Basically, that's just what I want to do with this program. So let's start writing this. So first, I'm going to create a function. A function allows you to group specific statements together. For instance, if I have a statement that says name equals Adele, and here I just say surname equals Cat, and I say age equals 23. If I wanted to group all these together, I'll just create a function. I'll use def, and I'll just say items or something like that, open and closing parentheses, and I can just copy all this information I have right here. So I'll just cut it, go over here and paste it, and make sure that you use tab to indent these items because they are going to be represented as the body of this function. And to call the function, we'll just use the name items to run that function. And I can simply print, let's say, the age, because it's one of these items here. So if I print this, I should see the number 23. So it says name error. Name items is not found. Did you mean items? So the I is capital. So remember to use the same name of the function you're calling, or else it will see something else. So if I run this, now it says this is the number 23. That's super great. So I'm going to just clear out everything and begin writing our program. So the first thing I'll do is to create a function called, I'll call this calc underscore discount. And basically I wanted to calculate that discount. So first I want to create a variable to hold a reference to the percentage, which is 100. So I'll just say percentage equals to 100, like so. And what I also want to do is to get the input from the user. And to do that, I'm going to use the input function. So I'm just going to say original underscore price is going to be equal to, and I'll use a float value for precision. And I can simply say input like so, and then I'll pass in the text. So I'll just say enter price of the item. Item like so. I'll use a column, just a single space, and I'll close this input. And basically, if we run this calc underscore discount function, and make sure we're spelling that right. So if we actually run this, it's asking us to enter the price of the item, and I can do things like 45. So basically that's it. But this 45 that's coming in is coming in as a string. So in Python, if we wanted to convert or cast this into a floating point number has more precision. What I'm going to do is to cast this and say float, and then put these in a pair of parentheses. And that should solve that problem. We can also change this data type to an integer, which will return a positive whole number. But I just want to use a float here, because I believe it's much more accurate. And the next thing we're also going to do is to enter the discount. So next, I'm going to create a variable called discount. Oops. And within this discount variable, I'm going to set this also to a float and get the input from the user. This is how we can get an input from the user. And I'll just say enter the discount. And I'll use close this. I'll just place this here, enter the discount. And now I'm going to close the second parentheses. So the first one is for the float, and the second parentheses is for the input. I think I'll make this slightly bigger so we can all see what we're doing here. So here, I'll set this to 16 and click OK. Now you can see it's quite nice and large, so you can actually see those brackets much more clearly. And in case we make any mistake, we can actually fix that. So next, I'm going to create a division. I'm going to divide the discount by the percentage, right? So percentage is 100. So if I do something, if I say the percent is going to be equal to our discount, so I'll just say discount divided by percentage. And basically what I'm doing is if I go over here and I run the Python shell, and I can use the Python shell for some quick calculation. So let's say it's on 30% discount. So I'll just say 30 divided by 100, and this is going to give me 0.3. And that's the value. That's what I'm actually literally doing here. So whatever value you have, if it's let's say 40% discount, I'm just going to say 40 divided by 100. And what I'm going to do is to multiply that by the original price. So what this is going to do is to cut out or determine the percentage from the original price. So I'm just going to say original price. Again, the spelling is very important. If you don't spell the correct thing, you'd actually run into a problem. And then lastly, I'm going to create another variable called final cost, where I subtract the original price from this percent. So basically this value I have here, I'm going to subtract that from this percentage over here to get the final price. So next, I'm just going to call this final, oops, my tab is on. So I'm just going to say final underscore cost is going to be equal to the original underscore price minus the percent. And basically this is no different from picking up your calculator. So I'll just open up the calculator. Oops, oh sorry, it's calc. It's no different from picking up your calculator and say, hey, 25 divided by 100 times, right? So it's 70, and that's going to be equal to 17.5 minus the original price of the item. And basically that's what we're doing. But this time around, we're giving names to these numbers right here. That's why you can have variables. So this 0.25 is going to be 25%. And then this value right here is going to be the original price, that's $70. So 25% of $70 is this, then minus that original price again. So that's going to 70 minus 17.5, so you can get the final result. Basically, that's what we're doing right here. And then finally, what I'm going to do is to print this result. So I'm going to use a print statement, and I'll use a very nice formatting system that lets you print out information in a much more friendly and readable way. So permit me to introduce the F string right here. So I'm going to say, and you'll see why the F string is important. So I'm going to say at a discount, but instead of using discount, I'm going to use a curly bracket and then pass in the name of the variable. So the magic we just did right now is that it's going to take whatever numerical value we've imputed here and then pass it into this discount section right here. So let's just see that example. And I'm going to use 10, right? But when we run this, 10 is going to be what we see here. So we're going to see at a 10, like so. So let's just run this example and see what's happening right here. So So it's asking me to enter the price of the item. So I say it's 19.99, and it's asking us to enter the discount, let's say 25%. So it says at a 25.0. So that means something is actually going on here, right? So it's saying at a 25. So let's go ahead and keep doing this. So at a discount of 25, and I'll just put a percent here. At a discount of 25%, or let's say at a 25% discount. Now this discount is going to be a word, this discount is going to be the variable, and it's the variable here which we are passing into our f string. So at a discount of 25%, I'll just use a comma. The item costs, and then I'll pass in another variable here, and I'll just say final underscore cost. And what I can even do is to add a $sign right here, just indicates the amount that item costs. And let's go ahead and save this, and let's see, let's try and run this and just test this to see how it's working. So we're expected to enter an original price and then a discount, and then it'll calculate the percentage by dividing the discount by the percentage here, which is 100, and multiplying that by original price, and then it's going to get the final cost by subtracting the percent, which is this calculation here, from the original price. So let's go ahead and click run and see this in action. So enter price of the item, it's 19.99, enter discount 25. So we're going to say at 25% discount, the item costs 14.9925. Now it's actually adding that precision for us. We basically know that, hey, at 25% discount, this item is going to cost $14.99. And we can actually change this. We can rerun this program again, and we can use the same 19.99, and then let's try 50%. So for at 50% discount, we're actually getting $9.99, right? So that's what this is actually telling us. If we left this, let me just go ahead and show you what I meant. If we left this at integer and set this to integer, let's go ahead and see what happens right here. So if I say 19.99, we actually get an error because it says this is an invalid literal for integer with base 10, and I'm passing in a float value. So that's going to cause problems for us. Let's just go ahead and set this back to float. So basically that's how you can use this. Let's go ahead and see how we can convert this into an object-oriented program, and let's do something funny. Let's create a variable here to check if we can afford this, basically how much we have in our pocket at that instance. So here I can say can afford. I'm creating a variable called can afford, and I'm setting it to 10.0, like so. So that's how much I have. I have $10. So I want to see if I can afford this item, and to do that I'm going to use if statements to check if I can afford this item. So I'm going to check if my final cost, basically this value right here. So I'm going to say if final underscore cost, and let's just say it's less than or equal to can underscore afford. So what do I want to happen? And personally, I like putting this in parentheses because it's going to check if this statement is true or false. So if it's true, so let's go ahead and print. I say I can afford this game on Steam, right? So if this is not true, so I'm just going to say else, using the else statement. So let's say print I cannot afford this item, and I'm also going to say print I'm broke, like so. So let's try this, right? Let's try running this. So first, I'm going to run this, and the price of the item, let's say it's $8, and it's on a 12% discount. Said at a 12% discount, the item costs $7.04. I can afford this game on Steam. That means, hey, I have the box because this is less than $10. So let's go ahead and pump this example up and say the item costs the price of a, I think, Mortal Kombat 1 is over. Let's set this value and let's say it's on a 2% discount. So it says at a 2% discount, this item costs $74.80. I cannot afford this item. I am broke. So that's very, I hope we all can afford the games we love to play. So, but at the same time, like this works. So, what can we do? Well, we can add a little eye candy to this. We can do things like, welcome the user when the user comes into this program. So we can even print something nice like I'll use a little tilde. See, welcome, like so. This is not going to affect the program in any way. You're just going to have a nice welcome when you run the program. So I just press F5 and you can see welcome, enter the price of item. Like, basically that's just eye candy. So I'm just going to kill the program. So now we've seen how we can create this program using regular Python. What if we want to do this in a class such that we can instantiate objects? So a class is basically a blueprint, and this would be a very rough class example. So let's just see that, and then we'll wrap up. So I'm just going to say a class, and I'll just call this counter, like so. And I'll just hit a column like that. So whenever you create a class, everything that's a body in the class has to be indented to the right. So I'll just click on this and tab this, and then we'll just have everything the way they were before. So this is part of this. Oops, sorry. So we're going to tab this guy, tab you in, tab you, tab you, tab you, and then tab you in, like so. I believe this should run without problems. So if we run this, it's telling us the entered price of the item. I'll do my 45 discount, 4%, and you can see this is less than $10. So it says I am broke right here. And another way that's quite important and why we created a class is because of this. We can create multiple instances of this object. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. So now this is the end of our program right here where we have the else statement. Let's create an object to reference the class. So I'm just going to say obj. Let's call this game underscore 1 is going to be equal to this counter, like so. So now that I've created my discounter, what I'm going to do is to create a function to call the function this calculate discount from this game. So I'm just going to say game underscore 1 dot calc underscore discount, like so. But each time you're using a class, you have to pass in a self keyword as these first arguments. So I'm just going to say self here. And since this function here, this can afford, let's say we place can afford here. So I'm just going to cut can afford and paste can afford in the body of this class. It's not actually available in this function. What I can do over here when I call can afford, I can just say self dot can afford, because this is now a body or part of this class. So let's go ahead and run this. So let's save this and run this. So and welcome, enter the price of the item. I'll just 19.99 and hit the return key. Enter the discount of 25%, and we can see our program running. Now, another thing we could actually do with the F string is to sort of truncate this if we want this to two significant figures or we want this to round up. So where we have this final cost, we can do a colon. I think we can do a 2F. That's to two significant figures. Let's go ahead and run this. Enter the price of the item 19.99. Enter the discount 25%. And we actually see this. So I'm actually doing it wrong. I believe this should come in here inside. So I'm just going to say 2F inside the curly brace, not outside, or else it's going to see it as a string. So I'm just going to say 19.99, 25% discount, and we can actually see it's increasing this value and adding these two zeros. So I can say 0.2F, and let's just go ahead and run this and do 19.99, 25. And we can actually see we're getting this value to two significant figures because I used 0.2F right here. If I didn't put, let's try 0.1F and let's run the same thing. So I'm going to run this module. I'm going to do 19.99, 25%, and you can actually see it's rounded it up to 15 instead of 14.99. So I think 0.2 is a very good value to use because it will give us a much more accurate result like we actually have on Steam. So just to see if we're going to get 9.99, so we're going to use 19.99 at 50% to see if we'll get 9.99. So that's 19.99 at 50%. So I'll do 19.99 at 50%, and we get $9.99, and it means I can afford this item on Steam. So I'm going to head up to Steam right now and buy this game, but I'm then broke. Well, anyway, if you enjoyed this very short Python tutorial, and actually Python is super awesome and cool because you can literally read this, right? Apart from the class and all this weird object instantiation stuff, that's object-oriented programming. It's quite annoying and difficult sometimes, but it's the best way to write programs on a computer system, and the computer program will understand more. It's object-oriented programming is much more computer or program manageable. You can create programs in a very, very modular way instead of always creating objects like that. So basically, if you like the tutorial, just give me a thumbs up. And yeah, it's just a fun project. It's in no way trying to teach you Python programming, but yeah, you can check out my channel. I have a lot of free videos. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.